hosts. I'm Diane Bortoletto.
And I'm Monique Chicato.
Let's do it.
Hello, and welcome to And Away We Go F1 Podcast, a Formula One podcast that goes beyond the track limits to talk about travel, food, and lifestyle surrounding the sport. I'm Diane Bortoletto, your Prix-Drive to Survive fan, and today, well, I'm still in Perth.
And I'm Monique Chicato, your post-Drive to Survive fan. And today I am in a very rainy, dark, stormy Stavanger. It's like summer ended so abruptly. It's very sad.
And we've had the endless winter here, and today I'm in short sleeves because it's 28 degrees. And this is Perth, right? You get winter, come on, get warmer, winter, and then 2 weeks of spring, then bang, it's 38 degrees every single day. We've just started our 2 weeks of spring. It's been freezing up until like probably Friday. So it's been a really long winter for us. But yes.
Speaking of long.
Turn corner. Long.
Speaking of long and turning corners and not turning corners, Di.
Longest qualifying, actually the longest session in Formula One's history in Baku. That was qualifying, right? 6 red flags, world record for number of red flags in a qualifying session, and it went for I think over 2 hours or 1 hour 50 seconds. It was the longest session they've had this year.
It was longer than last year's race in Baku. Like the qualifying was longer than the race in Baku last year. It was unbelievable, and 6 red flags. These guys are at the top of their game, at the top of motorsports in the world. And 6 of them, and this wasn't engine failures or anything like this.
No.
6 people made catastrophic errors that ended their qualifying. Shall we go through them, Di?
Wow. First, hold that thought. First, I want to say there was a little bit of sprinkle of rain at some point and tyres, but we'll get into that. 3 words, Mon. We didn't start the podcast with our 3 words.
Yes, okay. And I think this is going to be good because it's going to lead into what we're talking about, of course. All right. Yes. Okay.
All right.
Do you want mine first?
If yours is going to lead in,
you go first. Okay. Off you go.
All right. My 3 words, because everything I think of is more than 3 words. My 3 words are yay colour stains.
Good 3 words. Mine were unpredictable stuff everywhere.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, it was.
Talking about qualifying and the 6 red flags and the guys at the top of their game going into walls and, totally unpredictable. But the race was also unpredictable, which we will get to after we've talked about these 6 red flags.
Well, it's the good thing about the red flags is that they really mixed up quali and really mixed up the start grid for the race.
Yes.
But it was just like, God, it was like pretty hard going watching qualifying. Yeah, it was and it would have been terrible for the teams and drivers as well because they wouldn't have been able to get in a rhythm because it was just, stop, start, red flag.
So our 6 red flags, there were 3 in Q1. So first cab off the rank and into the wall was Alex Albon. Only looked like a little nudge, but it completely obliterated his front axle there. So he was the first of our red flags. And then we had Nico Hulkenberg go off into the wall. The third one was a really interesting one because Pierre Gasly ran deep and right behind him was Franco Colapinto. And I think Pierre Gasly running deep and causing the yellow flag distracted Colapinto, and he went straight into the wall and ended his qualifying session. So we had both the Alpines off basically at once. And then the 4th red flag was in Q2, Oliver Behrman. The 5th one, Charles Leclerc in Q3. And the 6th one, Di, do you want to do the honours or?
No, keep going.
The 6th one was our championship leader and the man that we both hold so much bias for, Oscar Piastri, off and into the wall, and highly uncharacteristic of him. But I did see a meme or like something, it was a photo that someone had posted and they'd put together 2021 in F2, Oscar Piastri sitting beside the track looking very dejected. 2023 when he was in F1 and he had a stomach bug and was trying to race with a stomach bug, and he just looked so unwell. And he was sitting there in the McLaren garage looking very unwell. That was his 2023. And then 2025, Oscar Piastri looking so very dejected over his race weekend, which we can talk about a little bit later. But yes, he was the sixth red flag.
Yeah, that's, I mean, so uncharacteristic of Oscar. But just running through the starting grid, after all those red flags, finishing 10th ended up being Charles Leclerc because he got into Q3. 9th was Oscar Piastri, and then Isaac Hadjar in 8th, Lando Norris in 7th, which I was kind of glad about because with Oscar out, and the championship battle so close, it was like, oh my God, if Lando gets pole or front row, where Oscar's going to be. Okay, so Lando was in 7th, Yuki Tsunoda in 6th, George Russell in 5th, Kimi Antonelli qualified in 4th, out-qualified George Russell, who was sick all weekend. So we'll just say that he was really unwell, so he had to push through. And then in 3rd, for anyone who didn't watch, I hope you're sitting down because Liam Lawson qualified in 3rd, the Kiwi from Racing Bulls, and Carlos Sainz in the Williams on the front row in 2nd, and then Max Verstappen, who's on an absolute charge at the moment.
Yeah.
Qualified on pole.
Yeah. And I'm going to work my way up here from the bottom of the 10th to the top of the 10th. I want to start by talking about Norris here because it was a very stop-start qualifying. So, as you've said, this is why we saw such a mixed-up grid. And Norris took the chance and went out first and went out early when the qualifying session restarted to set a lap time because he was worried that there would be another red flag or the session would end, something would happen. So he needed to set a lap time. And that's what he did. He went out and set his lap time. Was it the right strategy? Obviously not, because he ended up in 7th position. Tsunoda qualifying in 6th, fantastic by him. But then to see Lawson and Sainz up there, and not to take away from what Sainz did, he put in one of the best lap times of, obviously he ended up in 2nd.
Yeah.
But there was a little bit of chance given the stop-startedness of the session, but he also put in an incredible lap time. So, yeah, I don't know how much. Yeah, absolutely. Kudos and vamos. So I don't know how much of the stop-start kind of contributed to Lawson coming in 3rd there.
I think that, I mean, this is why we love Formula One and why we love races like Baku, which is confirmed on the calendar until 2030. So it's going to be around for another 5-6 years. I just think that those drivers that got out, that got clean air, that were able to do clean laps, there was a sprinkling of rain. The tyre compounds were different this year. Pirelli brought the softest compounds that they have. So all of these things were contributing, I suppose, to drivers not having enough grip or too much, whatever.
There was also the big wind gusts that they kept talking about.
Yes.
So that was contributing heavily to the complexity of the track. And I mean, you can't ignore the fact that this track is incredibly difficult because there's such narrow sections and you're going so fast. And
tight turns.
Yeah.
And tight turns, like right hand 90-degree turns. So
so if you screw that up, you're straight in the wall, which we saw.
Yeah.
So
yes. So those drivers, okay, there might have been a bit of luck on their side with a bit of a John Bradbury situation where the top runners have not been able to, capitalise.
Stephen Bradbury?
But did I say John Bradbury?
Yeah.
Sorry, Stephen Bradbury. Yeah.
Fellow Australians, you'll know exactly who we're talking about.
Yeah, he was a Winter Olympian who won a gold medal in speed skating and only won it because the rest of the field totally crashed out and luck was on his side. He got the gold medal and that's doing a Steve Bradbury.
Yeah.
So I think there might have been a little bit of that at play, but you just got to take it, haven't you? So sometimes the luck falls your way, sometimes it doesn't.
Absolutely.
And in this case for Carlos and Liam, luck fell their way.
It's so good for us viewers too.
I mean, quali was hard to watch. It was just like, red flag, hurry up, come on, let's...
But to see a starting grid like that is exciting for the viewers, because as much as having your favorite driver dominating can be great, it can also become a little bit boring because you kind of know what's going to happen. But this was fun.
Yeah, totally. And it was after Oscar crashed out, I was on, I mean, I guess you were too, and every other Oscar Piastri fan was too, on tenterhooks, just watching what's going to happen with Lando. Is he going to qualify high up there? And yeah.
Yes.
He ended up 7th on the grid, and that's where he finished the race as well. Let's talk about the race.
He didn't convert, which was, again, the biggest worry for any Oscar Piastri fan. The biggest worry is that he was going to pick his way through and gain a lot of points. As you've said, he finished exactly where he started, in 7th. So before we start talking about the race, should we just go over the top 10 there, or?
Yes, okay. Well, we'll just run through the top 10 of the race finishes. So I'll go in finishing order this time instead of reverse order. So Max, who's been on a charge for the last few races, started on pole, finished on pole.
Unstoppable.
Convincing drive from him, unstoppable. Textbook. Actually, he got a grand slam. He led every single lap, fastest lap, pole position. So yeah, Max Verstappen, absolute stellar race.
Yeah.
In second was George Russell in the Mercedes, who, considering he was feeling so unwell, and he looked just awful after the race. He just did not look well, did he? Like he had a horrible cold. Yeah, so he finished second, George Russell. Carlos Sainz finished third, which is just brilliant. First podium for Carlos in Williams, and first Williams podium in a really long time. Well done to Carlos Sainz. Kimi Antonelli was in fourth in the Mercedes. A brilliant weekend from that youngster. Liam Lawson in fifth. Top 5, that's great for Liam. And 6th was Yuki Tsunoda in the Racing Bulls. 7th, Lando Norris in the McLaren. 8th was Lewis Hamilton in the Ferrari. 9th, Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. And 10th, Isaac Hadjar in the other Racing Bull.
Wonderful. And where's Oscar Piastri, Di?
Oscar Piastri crashed out on lap 1, corner 5. Just hit the wall and ended his race. He was the only DNF of the race. Considering how many red flags there were in quali, I was expecting the race to be carnage. And quali was carnage, but the race was not, except for Oscar. So he crashed out, and it was like, oh my God, where is Lando going to finish now? And how is this going to bode for Oscar's championship battle, like for the World Drivers' Championship?
It's such an uncharacteristic weekend for Oscar.
Well, he stalled, didn't he?
Yeah, because he jumped the start.
Yeah, so he had a terrible start, jumped the start, stalled, and then was last off the line behind the pack. Went to overtake, I think it was Franco Colapinto anyway, and just locked up the brakes and went straight into a wall on turn 5. So that just ended his race. And so for the whole race, just watching, what's Lando going to do? What strategy McLaren going to pull out? How's this going to end up?
Oh, I'm surprised they didn't tell Lando to drive into the wall to make it fair.
Dear.
Well, finishing in 7th, there were quite a few things there that I think contributed to Norris's 7th. That the car just was not fast enough for that track, which we saw in qualifying. Norris also had a very slow pit stop again.
Yes, I know. 2 races in a row, a slow pit stop.
And there was no team strategy they could pull to get him out of that one. So there
was not.
He had to wear that.
I did see a meme of Lando looking dejected with the caption saying slow pit stop and no one to swap with. So yeah.
I know. And he ended up getting stuck in a DRS train with Lawson was at the front of the DRS train. And then there was Tsunoda behind him, which if we know anything about that Red Bull, if Max isn't driving it, that Red Bull was very, very hard to wrangle. So I'm not surprised that it was hard for Yuki to try and overtake Lawson. So we had Lawson, we had Tsunoda, then we had Norris behind him. And Norris made a few attempts because he got closer to Sonoda than Sonoda ever did to Lawson, but
Yeah.
he just didn't have the Vegemite there to kind of get around him,
No.
or should I say the Marmite? He's British.
I mean, like you said, it was really windy. I remember Kimi Antonelli coming on the radio at one point saying, I've got absolutely no grip. And the team's like, that's a gust of wind. That's not the tyres. So that's,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, and also Lando was defending. He
Yeah.
had like Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc up his tail as well. So, I mean,
Yeah.
Lando had to defend as well as try and attack. And that whole DRS train was,
That's how they
no
finished.
one's fault. That's right. Exactly right. That's how they finished.
So, and the only reason that, because I think Norris did end up overtaking Sonoda, but they ended up swapping back because of that slow pit stop. And unfortunately, yeah, they couldn't ask Sonoda to give the position back, could they? So, but I've been seeing the very, 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 very British biased media, and it's just so funny seeing how they're reporting on the fact that Oscar had this DNF and Norris still raced. They're like, the championship has been blown wide open. And I'm like, it hasn't. It really hasn't.
You know what? Lando only he scored less points finishing 7th than what he would have done if it was like a 1-2.
Yeah.
So if it'd been like if Lando had won and Oscar had come second,
he would have had a bigger gap.
There's a big, yeah, exactly. So that's a 7-point gap, whereas finishing in 7th place is 6 points. It still keeps Oscar 25 points in the lead for the Drivers' Championship, which is a race win, right?
Yes, it's closed up the gap a little bit between Max Verstappen and Lando Norris. Not
exactly right.
Yeah, so not that it's going to be a slam dunk, like, oh, so easy for Verstappen to overtake Norris in this championship race, or Verstappen's in contention, but it does also mean that Norris now kind of has to think about Verstappen. It's not a you know, it's not as cruisy maybe as it was before for him, but very happy for Verstappen that he took that win, because I've said before, now that he isn't dominating and we see him having to work hard and being challenged.
I feel like the victories feel a lot sweeter for Max now that he, like you said, that he has to work really hard for them. He just seems really happy every time he scores a good result, whereas in 2023 when he was absolutely dominating, and even the first half of last season when he was absolutely dominating, him being on the top step of the podium looked like, I've just got to get through this ceremony because this is part of racing. He was just enduring it. It wasn't something he was taking enormous pleasure in, whereas now he's smiling, he's nodding to people in the crowd. I think it might have been his grandmother in the crowd. They kept cutting to an older woman who was standing next to Jos Verstappen in the crowd underneath the podium, and she was welling up, emotional, and it was really, really lovely to see. Yeah,
and it was nice to see Russell up there again as well on the podium. I just feel sorry for him that he couldn't enjoy it as much as he probably should have.
Yeah. I know they said it was actually really touch and go on Friday whether or not Bottas was going to get the call up as a reserve driver to take the place. He was that unwell. Oh, wow. They sent him home on Friday to rest, and then he felt a bit better and then got worse again. So it's just been poor George.
Yeah, so then for him to come up from, I mean, he qualified in 5th, and for him to stand there on the second step of the podium.
Awesome work.
Yeah, when you're that unwell.
Awesome work.
But can we talk about the third step on the podium, Di?
Smooth operator.
Did you hear the DJ playing it?
I did, and all the marshals were singing it as he was walking into. Oh, it was so nice. Carlos said it was the best podium of his career, better than any other podium, better than a win that he's got in the past. You can tell how much that means to him and the whole team. I thought James Vales was going to cry. I mean, I cried, so.
So why didn't you cry, James?
He looked very emotional, very pleased. It was just brilliant, and Williams was your good surprise pick for this season, and it's happening, isn't it? Like they're not only making improvements every week. And well, sometimes it feels like sometimes, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but they just brought it all together in Baku, and it paid dividends.
Yeah, and I feel like with these midfield teams, or the midfield and the kind of back markers, it is generally always like that: 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And Sainz has said himself that he's been so unlucky. He's had the pace, but he's been so unlucky with just technical things, or they're stuck in the mid pack. So there's lots of incidents that happen in the mid pack. And so he's just been really unlucky with a lot of things. So it's nice that everything came together, and he had the pace, he had the skill, and he could hold it all together for that race. Like it was finally.
And the team got the strategy right.
Yeah, it was finally the culmination of everything coming together and being like, okay, we can do this. And they can. I mean, Albon absolutely also has the ability to be up there on that podium. I don't know, to see Williams progressing the way that they are is really nice. And that podium has consolidated their spot in the Constructors' Championship. They're sitting there in a pretty solid 5th, which is huge for a small team. Every step that you take up on that championship, or in the Constructors' Championship, is more money. So
millions and millions of dollars. It's huge that Formula One pay the teams depending where they finish in the team standings in the Constructors' Championship. So mathematically, I think Red Bull are out of contention for the Constructors' Championship. I don't think mathematically they've got no way of winning that or coming close to that. McLaren thought that they were going to take the Constructors' Championship this weekend. Like, if Oscar and Lando had finished 1-2, no one else would be able to catch them. But that didn't happen. So McLaren are going to have to wait before they can celebrate the Constructors' Championship until Singapore or later. We don't know. We don't know what the results are going to be. In second place is Mercedes on 290 points, Ferrari on 286. So that's the big battle there. Yeah, and then Red Bull in 272, so they're not that far behind either.
Wow.
And then there's a gap, and then Williams 101 points, which is just phenomenal for Williams. So I heard one of the commentators say that in the last 5 years they'd scored a total of 85 points, and this year they're already on 101, which is...
Yeah.
I might have got that number wrong, but that's some impressive stat like
to that effect.
Yeah.
Which is really
Exactly.
it just goes to show the steps forward that they have taken as a team. And I bow down to James Vowles. If you have listened consistently to this podcast, you will know that. And I just think that he has done the combination of him, Albon, who's been there for so long, and bringing in Sainz has just been like, it's like strawberries and cream. Perfect match.
Yeah, it is. And Toto Wolff actually sent James Vowles a little present to say congratulations on your first podium as TP, team principal.
Oh, do you know what? I love this camaraderie that all the teams have for each other. Like, Mercedes gave champagne to the Kick Sauber team when when Nico Hulkenberg got his podium, because they didn't have champagne because it's not something that they normally have. Everyone is genuinely happy to celebrate these achievements of the drivers and the teams when there's such big achievements. I think they don't want them nipping on their heels and taking, their championship away from them or anything like that. But when something extraordinary happens, like Williams getting their first podium in however many years, and Carlos Sainz's first podium with his new team, when he, on paper, looks like he's had a really challenging season, right? He's had several DNFs. So for that to happen, and for everyone to, I do feel like the whole paddock celebrates that. Yeah.
I've got to add, though, Toto Wolff wrote on the gift bag, "You lucky bastard." So to James Vowles. So yes, there is camaraderie, but there is still competition.
Friendly, happy, like poke in the side competition.
So in the driver's standings, I'll just go through the points quickly. We've got Oscar Piastri is still leading. He's 25 points ahead of Lando Norris. Like we said, that's 1 race win and 1 DNF. You get ahead. Then in third place is Max Verstappen on 255. So that's 44 points behind Lando. I think Lando needs to watch it, and even Oscar to a point. Max is on a charge. He could, if the McLarens are unlucky, if they're under pressure and make mistakes, or have a mechanical DNF or whatever. Yeah, they need to be careful, because if there's a win for the taking, Max will take it.
Yeah.
And then in 212 points is George Russell in 4th place, and then dropping back 165 points is Charles Leclerc.
Still the only pointless driver. Pointless, oh, that sounds terrible, is Colapinto.
Well, yeah.
The only driver to not score a point.
Yes, is Franco Colapinto still. I also did see that Flavio Briatore has ruled out Jack Doohan for a comeback. He's looking at 2 drivers. One of them is Paul Aaron, and the other one is Franco Colapinto. So I think unless Franco starts performing,
it's going to be a Paul Aaron seat.
Yeah.
Paul Aaron was a great driver in the previous formulas. Like, really, really great driver. And I know...
Is he Irish?
No, he's... I think he drives for, like, Croatia or Lithuania or something like it. Yeah. No, the Irish driver is Dunn. Alex Dunn.
Ah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Estonian.
I knew it was...
Paul Aaron is Estonian, yeah.
I knew it was, like, somewhere around there. But, yeah, there's been a lot of F2 names kind of floating around. Again... We've seen talking about these kind of empty seats, or like drivers that we don't know if they're going to continue on. So there's obviously Franco Colapinto, and Paul Aaron's name has been thrown about. Yuki Tsunoda is another one that his seat hasn't been confirmed, and there's a lot of talk about who that seat's going to go to. And if it's not going to be Yuki, it has been theorized that that seat is going to be offered to Hadjar. And then that Racing Bull's seat will go to Arvid Lindblad. He's a Red Bull junior. He's currently in the F2 championship. I mean, he's not doing exceedingly well in the F2 championship. Like, we're, you know, the front runners in the F2 championship, I don't think they've even got a look in at the moment. Like, their names haven't really been thrown about for any of these seats that are currently not confirmed for Formula One in 2026. So it's interesting to see. I guess a lot of the teams kind of bring their juniors up into those seats, but it means that a lot of these guys sitting at the top of the championship in F2 aren't getting a look in yet. So they might have to wait a year or two. But it's, yeah.
And I don't think there's many seats up for grabs. I mean, yes, we say that, but if a team wants to cut a contract, they will cut a contract. It's just...
Oh, what? No. So at the moment, it's just really the Racing Bull / Red Bull seats and the Alpine seat.
I don't know. I think Ollie Behrman might have got a one-year contract, so maybe Ollie's contract is coming up. I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with these teams that we know the seats are definitely like, who knows?
Yeah, I guess that'll probably play out. Well, we don't know. It could be announced at any time, so we're just going to have to wait and see.
Can we jump into talking about Azerbaijan then?
Azerbaijan. Oh. Yeah. Well, this it's a race that's pretty high up on my wish list to go to, and also just as a destination to go for a holiday. I mean, Baku looks,
incredible.
Equal parts hugely modern and exciting, and then historic and traditional. Everyone I know who's been has absolutely loved it.
Yeah, and I think if you're interested in these kind of countries that broach both Western Asia and Eastern Europe, which is what Azerbaijan does, it's part Eastern Europe, part Western Asia. People either know a lot about it because they're so interested in traveling to these countries, or they know absolutely nothing about it. Same as Georgia, which Azerbaijan borders, and it borders Iran on the lower side and the Caspian Sea to the east of it, and Russia to the north. But people get very confused and think that Azerbaijan, you can't drink alcohol, you've got to cover up, you've got to... no, that's not what people mostly think that it's going to be. But yeah, it looks like a fabulous destination. Oh my gosh. Neither of us have been, but...
Yes. No. And remember watching Eurovision. I don't know when they hosted Eurovision, but it was hosted in Baku, and I just thought, this is awesome. Some of the interesting things that I found in Baku is they have a carpet museum.
It's the most visited attraction.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. The building's actually shaped like a rolled carpet, which is kind of interesting.
It is too. I didn't even notice that. Yeah.
Apparently so. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, they're very proud of their Azerbaijani trade there, like an ancient trade. So
yeah. And you see on the races all those beautiful castles and the old centre.
So there's that particular corner that they take. It's a left-hand corner, and there's like a big turret on the racetrack. And I think, because I was trying to work out what castle that was a part of, and I think that is part of the Baku Fortress Wall, which contains the old town. So, which again is somewhere that is highly recommended to walk through, because obviously it's historic and it's got lots of beautiful architecture, I guess, from way back when for people to see, and cafes and
12th century and UNESCO listed. So there you go. That the old city, that is. The old city.
Yeah, and so it should be. I mean, we need to preserve these things for all these beautiful UNESCO heritage listed parts of the city. Baku, as you would see when they're doing the street race, is also supremely modern. And the most, I guess, iconic part of that is the flame towers. It's what the three towers.
3 flame-shaped skyscrapers.
Yeah.
Lit with LED displays at night, and they're like the iconic skyline for Baku now. That's I think it's quite lively, and Nizami Street is a lively pedestrianised sort of shopping and dining street. Lots of cafes, lots of places to go out day and night. I think that's one of the popular places. But speaking of eating, how did you go this weekend with food?
Okay, so I had every intention. I was going to cook.
Oh, here we go. It's another page out of the excuse book. Yeah.
Shut up, I'm pregnant. That's my excuse for everything. But I'm pregnant.
I'd be using it too. Don't worry. Yeah.
Especially earlier on, it was hard. But I was going to make dolma. It's very indicative of this Western Europe, Eastern Asia kind of culture, because you find dolma in so many countries, like in Turkey. They have their own version of dolma or dolmade or whatever you want to call it.
Dolmades in Greece. Yeah. So
it's basically the vine leaves, the stuffed vine leaves. And I had every intention. I know where to get the vine leaves from. There is one store here that I can get them from, but we were very busy nesting on Saturday, and the store was in the complete opposite direction of all the stores that we needed to be at. So I didn't make it, but then I was going to turn the ingredients into I think you call it a qutab.
Thin stuffed flatbreads.
Yes.
Yep.
So I was going to make the flatbreads, but then I realized...
Like a quesadilla. Yeah.
Yeah, like a Azerbaijani quesadilla. The recipe that I wanted to use was like minced lamb and pomegranate molasses. And then I realized that I didn't have pomegranate molasses either, which is pretty key to the flavor of these things because it's very sour, very particular flavor. So I had every intention of making one of 2 dishes and I just ended up turning it into a risotto.
I have an Azerbaijani friend in Margaret River. Shout out to Sammy. She was a contestant on MasterChef decades ago, and we had brunch together at a mutual friend's house, and she bought dolma, and she also bought baklava with a P. Or baklava as a sweet. It's a flaky pastry layered with nuts and honey and syrup and beautiful. Sometimes it's flavored with saffron or cardamom, but and she's like an exceptional cook. Sammy, she's posts beautiful videos of her making bread, and she's got a massive garden. So she's always cooking fresh produce that they've grown. But yes, her dolma were delicious. I've got to make a confession. I don't really like dolmades. They're my kind of one of my least favourite Greek foods. They're just, I don't know what it is. It just doesn't really do it for me.
Maybe they're the particular mix of flavours that they put in the rice, isn't?
I know, mix of flavours, the vine leaves, keep them on the vines. I don't know. I just like... I don't love them. But her version of dolma were delicious.
Yeah, and it's interesting because that term dolma actually applies to basically any sort of stuffed dish. So depending on which country you're in and you order dolma, it could be like a stuffed capsicum or a stuffed, like it's kind of the term for stuffed. So you see across all these different countries where dolma is a part of their cuisine, it kind of varies. And so the difference between like a Greek dolmade and a Azerbaijani dolma, the flavors, the ingredients that they put in, because I think the Greek ones and even the Turkish ones tend to have like a little bit more of a citrus flavor, whereas the Azerbaijani ones are kind of more meaty and herby. In general, I think the Azerbaijani cuisine, you can find a lot of similarities with like Turkish or a lot of the Middle Eastern countries as well, like pilaf and
Kebabs.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're all very, you see them a lot in the Azerbaijani cuisine as well.
Chargrilled meats and skewers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think the Greeks probably, I'm guessing, I don't know, but given the influence of food in Azerbaijan, the Greeks probably not maybe ruled or had an influence. The ancient Greeks, they were, you know, everywhere at one point. So no doubt.
Yes, I would say that's probably highly likely.
That was a pretty hard race to watch with Oscar crashed out. I did have higher hopes for Ferrari, which didn't eventuate, but really lovely to see George Russell back on the podium and Carlos get his first podium for Williams. And it's kind of a little bit exciting to have Max back on the charge and keeping everyone on their toes.
Yeah, an interesting week for sure. And then next week we've got yet another break. Yay. And then we go to Singapore, one of the races that pretty much everyone we talk to either wants to go, has been. I mean, a lot of the people we speak to are from Australia, so it's like our second home race.
Yeah. The lineup that Singapore Grand Prix puts on off track, the entertainment is always mega. I mean, I think they've got Elton John this year. Like, it's huge.
Exactly.
Yeah. So another weekend of no racing, but we'll be back next week with another podcast episode. So tune in.
And if you liked this week's episode or any previous episode or just the podcast in general, or you like us, just leave us a rating or a review or a comment, whatever you would like on any of your favorite podcast listening apps. We're also on YouTube. If that's where you're watching us, you already know that. And you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok as well. Or if you really want to, you can email us at andawaywegof1podcast@gmail.com.
Brilliant. Well, thank you, Mon, and thank you for having us in your ears. Until next week, and until lights out.
It's lights out and away we go.
And Away We Go podcast is produced by Diane Bortoletto and Monique Ciccato.
Let's do it.